I will be.
Okay, if you can see me,
Okay.
good evening. Can you see me? Any confirmation from anyone?
Yes, we can.
Oh, good, good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Edele. I would say it's quite a very big introduction there. I was even thinking, is this me you're talking about or someone else? So it's quite interesting. Thank you. It's quite a privilege to be here. I must use this opportunity first and foremost to thank every one of you who made out time to be here. We are trusting God that after this meeting, at least all of you that are here will have additional information to add to the repertoire of knowledge you had already. And through this process, we are hoping that your lives will be changed for the better, especially as regards your career, or at least you could pass down this information to somebody who needs it the most around you. All we are looking forward to is youth engagement and employment and empowerment in our time. So please join me even as we gradually begin to unveil. It's quite a privilege to be anchoring this session, and I have been given only, I think, roughly about an hour. I will try to rush through. What I'm going to talk about is not something you don't know about, but it's something that I believe by the time we rub our minds together, our knowledge about this same concept will improve better than what it is already. So I'll be sharing my screen. So I'll delete this with you. I would want to share my screen so you could follow me as we progress. I hope for this to be a very interactive session, and I am looking forward to your questions. I am looking forward to your engagement. I am looking forward to partnering with you as we explore this topic tonight. So, Ayo, please, I'm not able to share my screen.
Okay.
Would you please grant access? Thank you.
Okay, let me. Okay.
Yes, thank you. I'm there now. Okay. Just to be sure you are seeing my screen, kindly let me know when you can see it. You can type on the chat box. You can maybe unmute temporarily just to say a word or two, so I know you are seeing what I'm sharing, so we can properly engage. Can you see the screen? Anyone to confirm?
Yes.
Good.
I can see it.
Thank you very much. And good evening. Like you rightly introduced, my name is Tochukwu Ume. I am privileged to be the Learning and Development Officer in ICRC, that's International Committee of the Red Cross, currently based in Abuja. I am a volunteer, especially, that is what I've been doing for most part of my life. So that is why this topic today we are discussing about volunteerism is very dear to my heart. So today we'll be considering the topic volunteerism as an effective gateway to career advancement. So that would be our focus today, volunteerism, an effective gateway to career advancement. So to proceed tonight, I just want to tell us few rules that we have just to make this interaction better and more enriching for every one of us. So I know that we are multilingual in Nigeria, but we'll be taking this session strictly in English. So we hope that everyone who is joining us today have at least a basic understanding of English language, because that will be the language of discussion. And the class will be highly interactive. So please feel free to chat at any time. You know, drop a chat if you have maybe a collaborating story to what I'll be saying at any point in time. Feel free to make a comment. Feel free to raise your hand if you have something to say. and we'll find the appropriate time to entertain your questions, okay? While we are at that, it is strongly advised that we at least mute our mics so that we don't have a lot of interruption, except you have something to say. It's allowed, you can unmute temporarily and say something when the admin prompts you to do so. So if you have something to say, it is important you indicate by a raise of hand, and the admin will give you access so you can say something at the right time. Whereas you can ask questions throughout the presentation. However, if the presentation is still on, it is best just to avoid distraction. Maybe you should put your question in the chat box. Just type your question and we'll be reading through the questions. And at the appropriate time, we are going to take care of all the questions as much as possible. We will answer all your questions. Please, as much as you can, maybe turn off your video, except you are talking, so that we can know who is talking when you are talking. But if you're not saying anything, it's advised, maybe you can turn off your video to minimize distractions. More so, please, we don't want anyone to abuse anyone. Peradventure, somebody said something you don't like, please, we don't want anyone to use any derogatory statement or remark or discriminatory statement. So please, as much as you can, kindly avoid that. Then we hope that you respect everybody's perspective. We are going to be sharing ideas together. There are things you know, there are things I know. I don't know it all. I'm just privileged to be facilitating. However, if you have anything to say, feel free to say it. And please, whatever anybody says, no one should look down on anybody. No wrong question, no wrong answer, no right question, no right answer. All we just want is to interact as friends, as peers, so we can share our knowledge and improve our lives. That being said, if you have any other rule that you think we need to involve in this process, kindly put it on the chat box. We'll be reading it very shortly. If you have any rule or any information that is relevant for us, you think is not properly covered here yet, please feel free, put it on the chat box. We'll be reading it out appropriately. Having said that, tonight we hope to discuss understanding of the concept of volunteering, okay? We also will be looking at the advantages of volunteering to the volunteers and to the host organizations. And we'll also be looking at how you can launch a successful career from volunteering. I'll be sharing some personal testimonies of how volunteering has helped me as a person to grow in my career pursuits. Lastly, we'll be discussing a lot of issues around volunteering, taking a lot of your questions. We'll be answering them together. We'll be putting heads together, and hopefully by the end of this session, we will all understand how we can use volunteering as a tool to launch that career path we hope to be into, either as a fresh starter or to change a career path. I believe that majority of the people that are with us today are millennials. Majority of people who are here today, I believe, are within the ages of 20 to, let's say, 45. And we are hoping that you are either in the early stage of your career, or you are in the mid stage of your career, or perhaps you are desiring to change career path into a different career path. So we hope that this session tonight will be of marvelous addition to you as an individual in advancing your career. Having said that, I have a very simple question. Now, this is over to you. What does volunteerism mean to you? Okay, just take a minute, think about it. What does volunteerism mean to you? What is it exactly? When you hear the word volunteerism, what are the first few words or words that come to your mind? Okay, so I want to read what you think. If you have something to say, you can raise up your hand. Otherwise, please, I am looking at the chat box. Please feel free to type in the chat box, share your idea in the chat box. What does volunteerism mean to you? So I'm looking, anyone who has something to say, just one word in less than 1 minute, or if you have something to put in the chat box, please feel free. Let me know what you think. What does volunteerism mean to you? Okay. Ishak Abubakar says, act of working or conducting a task for free. Okay, that's nice. Thank you, Ishak Abubakar. Any other person share your idea? What does volunteerism mean to you? I'm waiting. Anybody? Anyone else? Hello, are we together? Anybody raising hands? Okay. Mr. Joel Bulus, thank you. Agreeing to work for your community or an organization without being paid. Okay. I see that. Thank you very much. Okay, can I have one more person's idea before we proceed? At least one more person. Okay. Ogundeji Grace, thank you. I see that. Grace says, service to mankind will return benefits as a way of payment, either value exchange or stipend. Okay. And Grace Xavier, Gloria Xavier says, act of rendering free community or organizational service. Okay. Yes, I see. Naomi Bull is rendering service without expecting anything. Volunteerism could also be an ideology, says Ishaka. Wonderful ideas. All these, your submissions are perfect. You have all covered what volunteerism is in your way of understanding it, and all of you are correct. However, let us dive a little bit more to volunteerism in a professional point of view. Before then, I want you to look at some interesting statistics. I got these statistics from from the website of Bureau of Statistics. So looking at this statistic, we can see that we have 33% unemployment rate in Nigeria. Out of that, youth unemployment is almost half of the entire youth in Nigeria are unemployed. And among those who are employed, about 21% of them are underemployed, which means they are not satisfied in their job. They are not being paid what they should be paid. What is the reason for this? And this is one of the things that we are hoping to address as individuals in our own way of giving back to the community. We are believing that we want to reduce this number as much as possible. Half of the youth in Nigeria are unemployed, and this is not a good statistic. Even amongst those who are employed, almost 1/4 of us are not happy in our jobs. We are not properly being paid. We are not enjoying, we are not being remunerated properly. So half of these people are not happy. Why is this so? But more interestingly, I came across these statistics again. Can you see what I'm seeing from here? It was even shocking when I saw this. From these statistics, you could see that Nigeria ranks highest amongst those who use social media. Wow. And who are those who use social media more? The millennials, people within the age bracket of 20, thereabouts, to maybe around 40, 45. We are the ones who use social media even the more. We spend averagely 4 hours every day on social media. Of course, when you check the statistics on your Android phone, you will be amazed that some of us spend as much as 16 hours on social media. Why will the unemployment rate not be high? Why are we not maximizing social media to reduce unemployment rates? Instead, social media is making us even more unemployed to a large extent. And I used to say to my friends that at every time you are being engaged on social media and you are not making money from it, then know that you are the product. You are making money for someone if you are there and you are not making money. So you are the product. They want to keep you engaged there because the more time you spend on social media, the more income you are generating for someone. Okay, so we must have this understanding. What am I trying to say in essence? For us to reduce this unemployment gap or the underemployment gap, we need to begin to look at how we spend our time. We need to start looking at what we do with our time. Our time is precious. Time is the only thing that you cannot buy back when it is spent. Okay, time is precious. You must make sure that at every point in time, you engage your time productively. Of course, there should be time for enjoyment. There should be time for socializing. There should be time for entertainment. but make sure that the time for entertainment and enjoyment does not eat into the time of productivity. And that is why we are coming from this perspective today. Having established these facts, what professionally is the definition of volunteerism? Volunteerism. Okay, thank you. Oh, wonderful kid. Kindly attend to that kid, but kindly mute your system so we don't have distractions. Thank you very much. Okay, so volunteerism has been defined as an unselfish activity. Mark the word, unselfish. It is not about yourself, okay? An unselfish activity which has the goal of providing help to others or to a group or to an organization or to a cause or even to a community at large without expectation or material reward, without anything at all. You are not expecting to get anything. It's not for profits making. You are doing this as an act of giving back. It is an unselfish activity. And what is the purpose of doing this unselfish activity? It is to help, to be kind to others, to assist another person or another group or an organization or even your community, okay? It's also, by extension, okay, following a cause that you strongly believe in, doing something for humanity, doing something for the sake of not just giving back because you can't do this thing, because you are in a position to do it, okay? This is what volunteerism is. It's also a means of giving back, like we've said, but through this process, why I love this definition again is the fact that you are developing essential social skills and also gaining valuable experiences. This is where we want to anchor our discussion tonight, okay? You are doing this unselfishly, right? But while you are doing this, while you are at this, while you are giving back unselfishly, you are getting back something, even though you're not being paid. What are you getting back? You are getting social skills, you are getting valuable experiences. Now, this volunteerism can be formal or informal. When is it formal? It is formal when an organization, places an advert, they need volunteers to apply for a cause of an organization, they want volunteers to come support, do an activity or carry out an event, okay? In this wise, it is more of a formal process. You apply that I want to be a volunteer. They will look into your qualification. Do you meet the minimum requirement? If yes, they invite you to volunteer with them, okay? Most of the time in formal volunteering, okay, it is mostly paid. Not paid in that wise, but at least they give some sort of stipend, okay? Or some sort of incentive, just or maybe living expenses or allowances, whatever name it may be used to address it, okay? They will just be giving something at least to help the person or the people volunteering to navigate the process, okay? At other times, it is informal. And I really want to focus more on the informal part of volunteering, okay? It is informal when it is not advertised, when it is not maybe from an organization point of view, okay? It is informal when it involves just two individuals on a one-on-one basis, or just between you and the organization without any formal procedure. It may not be a formal process for the organization, but nevertheless, they still take volunteers sometimes. So why am I emphasizing on this? For us to know that volunteerism can come in different shapes and forms. It can be solicited, it can also be unsolicited. Okay, so if you have this at the back of your mind, it will help us as we continue this discussion further. Okay, I'm having a lot of people waiting. Ayo, please, would you admit these people who are waiting? Thank you. Okay, having established that facts, I want to proceed. There is this definition I love so well by Ivan. He says that volunteerism is all about doing more than you have to because you want to in a cause you consider good. Pay attention to those words. Doing more than you have to, okay? Because you want to, in a cause you consider good. So this has to come from you as a person. You've decided that this is something you want to do. You are not being compelled to do this. No one is forcing you to do it. It's voluntary. You decided on your own. I want to do this thing, even though I don't have to do it. It's not if you are already working, for example, it is not your job description. It's not your job to do it. It's not your task. But then you want to do this. Why? Because you think you can, you have the ability to do it. You know that you can do this thing, or at least you can try. And why? The motivating factor for you to want to do this is because you consider that thing is good, either for yourself, for the person you're doing it for the organization, for the community, or for human race at large. You consider this to be a good cause. You consider it to be something worthwhile doing. That is why you want to do it. And you know that you have what it takes, or you believe you can develop what it takes to do this, okay? But then don't forget, you don't have to do it. You don't have to volunteer. It's just a choice, right? It's totally a choice, okay? So having said that, also note again that what makes volunteering, okay, what makes one a good volunteer is the fact that you have this passion about something. You have the passion to give back. You have the passion to do something for the community, for the organization, for other individuals around you. Basically, I want to see volunteerism about as being kind. You are kind to people. You are kind to humanity. You are kind to your organization. You are kind to your colleagues. You are kind to your family members. You are kind to your church. You are kind to your mosque. You are kind to your pastor, your imam, your everybody around you. It's all about an act of kindness, okay? And you have this passion. It is self-driven. It is self-motivated, okay? And then you have this ability to sustain that motivation. That is the enthusiasm. Whether you are being paid or not, you have this internal motivation to sustain that drive, okay? You are passionate about this thing, right? Okay, and then you are considered, you are looking at how you can make a positive change. Something is good, but you know you can make it better. Something is bad, but it is not working, you know you can make it work. Okay, you want to cause a change, you want to bring about a change. So at the end of the day, the whole purpose of volunteerism is, one, to be kind to people, to solve a problem, to bring solutions to problems around you. That is all what we are looking for if you are volunteering at any point in time, okay? Please, Ayo, are you there? Can you please admit? I see a lot of people waiting in the waiting room. Please, can you admit as much as you can? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please help me here, okay? I'm trying to admit as much as I can. Thank you. Okay, so having said that, what are the things that volunteerism is not? We've seen what it is. What is it not? First and foremost, it is not a job. Okay, don't get it twisted. Because you are volunteering in a big organization, don't think that that means you are working for that organization. You are not. If you are volunteering somewhere, it is not a job. The mindset that people take sometimes, that volunteerism is a job, makes people to expect to make profit or to earn a living from it. Okay, it already defeats the purpose of volunteering, right? Also, it is not an income generating event. You cannot volunteer, for example, to do a sensitization in your community because deep down within you, you know that the community leader will now come and give you some maybe fundraise so that you can, out of the, maybe if you raise 500,000, you can now use 100,000 for the activity and then use the remaining to reimburse your pocket. No, it is not an income generating event. If you're doing this, you're doing it as an act of kindness for the sake of helping somebody or providing solution to someone. It is not for you to make money or to generate income for any reason, okay? It is not also a guarantee of job placement. The fact that you are a volunteer or accepted as a volunteer in an organization does not guarantee that after the volunteer period, you're going to get a job with that organization. So if you're going to volunteering with the mind that I'm going to get a job after I'm done with this, no, it is wrong. Let's set it right. It is not about job guarantees. It is not a job. It is not for income generation. It is not also a guarantee that you will get a job with that organization or with that individual or in that community after you have volunteered to help them solve a problem, okay? Also, volunteerism for some people, unfortunately, they see it as a waste of time. They always say, I don't have time for this. I'm too busy doing something else. Well, if what you're doing or busy doing is productive enough to give you the future you expect, then fine, I'm happy for you. Otherwise, volunteering is not a waste of time, okay? It is not a waste of time. Every one of us, and let me shock you, for every one of us, at every point of time in our life, we have volunteered for a cause. We have volunteered for something at every point in time of our life. But maybe we've not really reflected and thought about it as volunteering, okay? So at this point, I want to encourage you to think back a little bit. Let it begin to reoccur to you. What areas of my life have I volunteered at some point before? What have I done before that was an act of volunteerism in my community, in my church, in my mosque, amongst my friends, in my school? Think about this for a while. You realize that you've done something that is totally for the sake of helping another without gaining anything in return, right? So that is volunteering for you. But please note, it is not an income generating event. It is not a job. It is not a guarantee that you will get a job, okay? And it is not a waste of your time. It is a productive use of your time because you have a lot of benefits to gain as an individual when you volunteer, a lot of benefits. So you can't waste your time volunteering, never, ever, ever. You can never waste your time whenever you volunteer for a cause, okay? Now, what are the importance to you as a volunteer? When you volunteer for something, what is the importance to you? How does it benefit you as a person that is volunteering? First is for your self-improvement, okay? When you volunteer for a cause, when you volunteer for an activity, when you volunteer to an organization or an individual, it gives you the chance to improve yourself, okay? You enhance your knowledge, you improve, what you know, because by volunteering, sometimes you may not know it all. Sometimes they may give you a training because they know, okay, we have somebody to do this, but he doesn't know how to do this part of the job or this part of the task. Somebody will train you, maybe a more experienced volunteer, maybe another team member, maybe the people or organization you are volunteering with, they will train you in one thing or the other. By so doing, you are improving yourself. So this is one thing you should have at the back of your mind whenever you are volunteering for a cause. No matter what it is, you are definitely improving yourself, building your skills, building your knowledge, gaining valuable experience by doing that. All this will come hand in hand later to give you an advantage in your career. But have this at the back of your mind that by volunteering, you are improving yourself. Secondly, by volunteering, you gain health benefits, right? By volunteering, you are working. One, it is also a part of an exercise. You are not idling out that time. You are productively engaging your time. And by then, you are working, and it helps you to reduce stress and also helps you to come out from depression. Sometimes you will understand with me that I think there is this adage that says, an idle mind is a devil's workshop. Okay, when you are idle, a lot of things begin to come, but when you are actively engaged, your mind is engaged, you are being productive, okay, you realize that you don't have time to think about some worries, some problems, and depression will be far from you, right? You don't get to stress your mind too much. It's because you are exercising yourself, you're able to, work out a little bit and relieve yourself of stress. Okay, it also keeps you motivated because you are engaging yourself in something that you consider worthwhile, something that you know you can do, something you love doing, something you enjoy, something you can do without being paid for it. Okay, so this motivation, this enthusiasm from inside of you keeps driving you. And all of this helps to improve your mental and physical health, right? So whenever you are volunteering for any activity whatsoever, it is for your own health benefits. Then thirdly, it helps you to grow, okay? It helps you to grow. It allows you to participate, in your community, helps you to improve your community, helps you to be part of your own personal growth. Because when you are volunteering, you are improving, you are developing your capacity, you are improving yourself, you are growing as an individual, you are getting engaged in building your community, in building your organization, in building another person. So you are being a part of the community, you are part of the development, you are part of the growth of yourself and that of others around you. Okay, this should be part of the things that you should look forward to anytime you find yourself volunteering for any activity. Also, it helps you to improve your social, network, right? By volunteering, of course, you make new contacts, you meet new people. If it is in a community, you are going all out to meet new sets of people, you are engaging new sets of people in your activity, you are talking to community, you are meeting clients, you are meeting organization leaders, you are meeting, people that are influential. Sometimes it builds your networks, right? You have network of people. There are people ordinarily you should not have access to, but by means of volunteering sometimes, it gives you this direct access to those people. You have their contact, you can call them when there is a need or when you think there is something they can do for you, okay? It also opens this door for those people to feel that they owe you something, to be kind to you in return, one way or the other. If you need something, you can reliably call these people and they will be there to support you, to help you, and all of that. So it's a way for you to improve your social networking skills. It's a way for you to also network with people that matter, people that are relevant in the kind of career that you want to build. Don't forget that we're talking about volunteering from the perspective of career advancement. So when you are volunteering in an area of the career of choice, you are already meeting those professionals, you are improving your network in that area of profession. Before you know it, you have them at your beck and call, you understand what they do, and maybe even gain mentorship from that process. Then lastly for tonight, about the importance to you, it gives you a sense of purpose, right? The fact that you are committed to something you consider to be a good cause, it helps you to feel like, okay, I am living a life of purpose. I am attaining what I want to achieve. As an individual, I am contributing. I am doing something meaningful, something worthwhile. I am giving back to my community. I am giving back to people around me. I am making positive mark in the area I find myself or around my sphere of contact. So this gives you a sense of purpose, okay? So I want to stop here for a while and check your heartbeat a little bit. Is there something you think is also part of the importance of volunteering to the volunteers that I didn't cover here? Please feel free to put on the chat box, or you can rightly unmute, okay? Maybe raise your hand. Let's give you the floor so you can say something. Okay, if there is something you think we are missing, just maybe one person on the chat box, please feel free. Type something, let me know. If, let me know if somebody can add to what we have. Okay, anybody, please? Hello, I want to be sure I'm together with you, so please, can somebody say a word or two?
We're hearing from this angle.
Oh, thank you very much. Please, is there something you think I am omitting, something you think we should have added as regards the importance of volunteering to the volunteers? Anyone? Okay, so I will take your silence to mean that perhaps I covered not all, maybe majority of it. Oh yes, Joabulus, thank you very much. It helps one build confidence in what he does. And also you have access or to be considered or to be contracted. That is nice, you have the access. But don't forget, we mentioned earlier, there are no guarantees, right? It is not a guarantee that you will get considered, for a job, okay? Or there are no guarantees that you will get contracted afterwards, but then at least you have the access, and that's true. Okay, somebody says people earn a living out of it. Yes, this can happen, but also this is not this is not the focus. It may happen, okay, you may gain financial benefit from it, but we don't want to always talk about the financial benefit because that would defeat the whole aim of volunteerism, right? So it's not about earning a living, but it may happen sometimes. Okay, thank you very much. Let's move forward because of our time. What are the benefits to organizations? Why do I want to talk about benefits to organizations? I want you to know that in as much as it is beneficial to you as an individual to volunteer. It is also beneficial to the organizations that you volunteer, right? So it's a win-win situation. When you are asking for an opportunity to volunteer, either to an organization or someone else, also have it at the back of your mind that in as much as it is going to be beneficial to you, it's also going to be beneficial to them. So it is a win-win situation. And this is why I strongly believe that volunteering is a very effective pathway to cutting a successful career path. Because why? Volunteering is a win-win situation. You win, and the organization is also winning. Everybody is benefiting, no one is losing out, right? So what are one of the benefits? One of those is it provides the organization with a ready pool of qualified potential employees, right? For the organization point of view, the people who volunteer and successfully do so become a ready pool of staff that could be hired for that organization, right? So this is one thing you should have at the back of your mind, right? And also it helps the organization to engage a more diverse range of skills, experiences, and knowledge. Why is that so? Because if the organization remains on what it knows, it may not be able to engage a more rich, diversity of staff in its ranks. But when they bring new sets of people, they come with different skills, they come with different experiences. And this, they help to improve the organization by giving them enough arsenal to work with, right? More so, it helps the organization to identify opportunities to improve their process. Why is that so? You are coming with your set of knowledge, you are coming with your set of skills, you are coming with your set of experiences. By the time you come into that organization or involved in that process, you begin to tell them, okay, this you are doing is good, but it can be better. I have a better way of doing this. You are going to improve the process of the organization. This they wouldn't have known was possible, but because of your involvement, their processes become better and more agile, right? So every organization wants to improve, especially when it does not involve too much cost. Also, it also helps the organization to improve its public relations. How? When I am volunteering in an organization, before you know it, I'll be telling my friends and my family about the organization. You become an ambassador of that organization. You talk about it, you sometimes even wear their clothes, right? You spread it. This kind of public relations, they may not be able to get by advertisement alone, right? So they help to integrate more into the community. They become more visible in those communities because more people in those communities are involved in their activities. The community tends to know more about them. So this is a positive thing for the community, for the organization as well. And most importantly, is a means of savings for the organization because most of the time volunteers are not paid, right? So when volunteers are not paid, or even when they are paid, it's mostly a stipend or a bit of an allowance. It's not a salary. So it is cost saving. And most of these volunteers can do what a full-time staff should be able to do. So in other words, you find out that the organization will save money by improving their processes, by getting affordable labor to do what they want to do, something they would have paid salary or middle salary for, somebody is doing for a fraction of that amount. So it saves them money. It saves the organization a lot of money when people volunteer. And that is why most organizations want to have volunteers, especially when they don't have large budget to implement their plans or their visions or their activities, right? Volunteerism could be one way they want to fall back on to achieve their goal. Having said that, how can you leverage volunteerism to grow in your career? And this is where I want to anchor this discussion tonight. How can we do this, right? From the beginning of this conversation, we've established the fact that one, volunteerism is an act of kindness, right? It's for you to be kind to someone. It's for you to do something not being paid for it. Yes, you're not being paid, but how does this give you a foothold to improve your career? Now, listen, if for any reason somebody involves you to say, help me do something, by doing it, we've already outlined some of those advantages. One of those is you improving in your skill set And when you volunteer, you have provided solution to somebody's problem somewhere. And this is something you want to put in your CV. This is something you want to post about. This is something you want the world to hear, that I have done something to improve processes. I have been a positive addition to a particular team sometime. I have added value somewhere. I have improved processes somewhere. I have reduced costs somewhere. These are things you want to put. You want to put that I have the capacity or the experience in organizing events. I have the ability to teach. I have the ability to do something, right? This is what you want to leverage upon, right? How again can it help you? Those people you have helped, that organization you have helped, they will be able to attest. They can be a referee to you to say, yes, we can attest to the fact that this person is good. This person can do this thing. This person has this experience. This person has this skill set. This person has this capacity to do this thing or that thing, right? This becomes an added bonus for you because somebody that is reputable in an organization can attest concretely, not just playing lip service, can attest that indeed you can do what you claim you know how to do. So this gives you an edge over people who may not have this opportunity to do it. Are you looking to be a teacher? Are you looking to be maybe to be an M&E specialist, right? Whatever career path you want to grow into, whether you want to change or you want to develop into, volunteerism is a way out, right? Identify those people who are doing those things. You may not be there yet, but what are we trying to achieve tonight? We want you to understand that volunteerism is the key, the connection from where you are now to where you want to be, right? You can volunteer your services in that area of growth you are hoping to grow into. That gives you the advantage. What are recruiters looking for? They are looking for people who have the experience in a particular area. When you can show concretely in your CV that you have this experience of doing this and that, and somebody can rightly attest to the fact that, yes, you have this ability, you have this capacity, you have this experience, automatically, it gives you an edge when you don't have the experience. So you can easily migrate from the career you are in now to the career of choice you want to grow into, right? So this is a way for you to advance to your career of choice, right? So if you understand this, you will realize with me that if you are not where you need to be, there are a lot of things you can do to get to where you want to be. Quite all right, and I agree with this. However, we are talking about volunteerism as one of those things, right? You can volunteer your services for free somewhere. You can do something for free for people so that they will see your capacity, or at least you can learn, even if you don't have the capacity. While you are volunteering, you are learning. And as much as you are learning, you are improving yourself. So whenever the opportunity comes, you realize that you have the capacity to deliver, and you can comfortably apply for those opportunities. And if you get shortlisted, you can come comfortably and defend yourself and show that you have what it takes. And believe you me, it works. I've seen it work for a lot of people. I'll be sharing some testimonies with you in a very short while, right? Now, just to buttress the point I had earlier mentioned, Seneca was one who said that wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness. So I want to bring this conversation about volunteering to the smallest particle of it, which is informal volunteerism, right? Informal volunteerism. It is a little bit more difficult to get into formal volunteer positions. It's a little bit difficult because most of the time it is well structured and they need most of the time minimum of 1 or 2 years of experience. What if I don't have 1 year experience in that line? What if I don't have 2 years experience in HR? I don't have 2 years experience in data collection. I don't have 1 year experience in maybe M&E. I don't have any of these experiences. How do I gain this job? How do I get into this career path? Consider volunteering. How do you now volunteer? You can consider informal volunteering, right? Just by being kind to people. As far as human beings are concerned, everyone needs help. Every human being needs help. Why not talk to that colleague of yours who is doing that thing? How can I be of help to you? What can I do to help you, navigate this problem? I really want to learn this thing. I don't know how it is done, but how can I help you? So I'm looking at volunteering from the perspective of helping at least one person. It could be in your office. It could be in your church. It could be in your mosque. It could be in your school. It could be in your compound, or wherever you find yourself. Just devote yourself to actively help someone. Do something as an act of kindness to somebody, and you realize that by doing that, you are developing yourself, right? So this is what we are talking about. Everywhere you can find human beings, there is an opportunity to be kind to them. There is an opportunity to volunteer to them, right? Take advantage of it. Take advantage of people around you. Everybody has a problem. Everybody has something they are trying to solve. Take advantage of it and provide a solution to that person. And you will just be amazed on how it will help you in the next maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 months time, right? And also, an unknown author said that kindness is like a boomerang. It always returns. And that is where I want to anchor this conversation. When you help somebody, it can never go unrewarded, right? It's just like, I'm a Christian, so I want to use this Christian verse, right? That says, it's just like give, it shall be given back to you, pressed down, shaking together, and running over, right? Whenever you give an act of kindness, it will be returned to you. It may not be that person who will give you a job, but you already acquired what it needs, what you need, or what is needed to land the job you need. So you are not helping that person because you want that person to help you back, but you are helping that person because you know deep down within you, this act of kindness is going to come back to you in one way or the other, right? Now, this act of kindness will come to you. It may not be in form of money, right? We've already established the fact that this volunteerism is not about money. It's about being kind to people. It's about being kind to everyone around you. It may not be your job, task, right? I always cringe every time I hear someone say, it's not my job description, I'm not going to do it. Hello? Do you know what we're talking about? Unless it is not something you are obviously not interested in, it's not something you want to do, but whether it is or not, my main message to you tonight is be kind to people. Whether it is your job, whether it is not your job, help people around you. In your place of work, be kind, go out of your way, support people, assist your colleagues, assist your friends, help as much as you can, as long as it lies within you. Help people around you, support people, help them do their jobs. When you see a colleague struggling with doing something you know how to do, offer to help, okay? It always comes back. By helping that colleague, you might just be surprised that there is something that colleague knows that you don't also know. And in that process of help, you may get to learn a new thing. And that thing you learn may just be the difference between where you are and where you want to be. Always be in the mood to help. Never say no to a call for help, especially in the professional front. Is it your job? Is it not your job? As long as you have the time and the skill and the ability, please help someone around you. It's always going to come back like a boomerang, right? So volunteers don't get paid. It is not because your services are worthless, but it's simply because they are priceless. So let that be the mindset. What I am offering cannot be paid for. So that is why I'm not looking for money. For example, I am here tonight, I'm talking about this, I am passionate about sharing knowledge, I'm passionate about discussing new ideas with people. Everyone who has been around me knows that I'm always passionate about sharing knowledge, whatever I've learned, I'm always willing to share, I'm always willing to give back to whoever that is willing to listen, right? Nobody is gonna pay me, I'm not charging anybody a penny for this, right? I'm using my data to do this, I'm using my time to do this, and I enjoy doing it. And I know it's not because you cannot pay me, but because I have this mindset that what I'm doing is priceless. It gives me a sense of satisfaction. It gives me a sense of purpose, right? And this is priceless. It cannot be paid. It cannot be quantified in terms of money. And that is why I am not asking for payment. But deep down of me, I know that somehow I am improving something. I am developing myself. I may not be a good presenter, right? But I know that I may be doing bad at presenting today, but bet you in the next 3 years, I'm sure I will do better presentations than what I'm doing tonight. if we'll be together, I'm sure we'll meet somewhere in another platform. If I have the privilege to present again tomorrow, perhaps I will improve upon my presentation skill. It's going to help me, right? But you can't pay me for this. It is totally priceless. And that is the mindset I have about volunteering. And that is what I want you to consider. It is priceless. No one at all can pay you for what you're doing. I will share some testimonies about volunteering with you as how it has helped me, starting from the early days of my career to where I am today. I have lived a life of volunteering for everyone who we've had anything to do personally with. I have volunteered whenever I can, in any capacity I can, to improve processes, to help reduce the problems of people around me, whatever it takes. First and foremost, like when the introduction was done, when I finished university, I had a bit of issue. I was not mobilized for NYSC at the time, and it was going to take about another 1 year for me to get mobilized, right? So I thought to myself, what will I be doing within this 1 year? Though I had a business running at the time, but I had staff I had employed in my business. So my business does not take my time 100%. I can control my business remotely. So that means I had spare time. And I thought to myself, what can I do with this time? Then I remembered that, okay, all my life I wanted to be a lecturer, right? I don't know if I'm doing well at teaching today, but this is what I wanted to do. I want to teach. I love to share knowledge, right? So I thought to myself, okay, what do I do? For me to lecture or to build this career path, I need to start learning from people who are already teaching, who are doing that thing I want to do. I need to hear from them. I need to see how they progress. I need to see how their day-to-day activities go. I need to come close to them to observe how they live their day-to-day life, what it is they do to progress from where they are to where they want to be. What is the core thing around lecturing? I wanted to know. I had to walk up to the head of department of my department where I graduated from, which was Business Administration Department in University of Maiduguri, right? I went to him and I said, sir, I am waiting for 1 year. And within this 1 year, I am going to be doing almost nothing. Though I have a business, but it doesn't take 100% of my time. I have spare time. I was wondering if there is anything you could, allow me do in the office space to support the department to get better. And he told me, sorry, this is not what we do, but then within my space, there is nothing you can do. We have full staff. Nevertheless, let me talk to the secretary of the department. So he spoke to the secretary of the department and he was like, yeah, he could do with my services, but he needed someone to assist him, collating results and one thing or the other. And I'm like, oh, perfect, I can do this. Then that was how they drafted me in. And for 8 months, I volunteered for that department for 8 full months. And I can make both to tell you, I was not paid a dime. I was not paid a dime. I think the only payment they gave me was when I was going eventually for my youth service. They gave me 5,000 naira to support my transport. I was very happy to receive it. 8 months of my life, and all that the department gave me was 5,000 naira in terms of money. This goes back to what we're telling you, that it's not about finance. But believe you me, that 8 months of my life was the major, should I say, what defined my career path. I realized eventually that lecturing may not be it for me at this early stage because the requirements to enter is a little bit high and a lot of things are involved. It may not be the right time, but then I learned something very important. I learned the importance of Microsoft Excel. That was where it opened my eyes to see what I could achieve with Microsoft Excel. And I was able to use it to improve the processes in that department. And for the first time in that department, I think we're able to graduate students in less than 6 months after their final papers. Before it used to be at least 1 year. When you finish your final paper, go home and rest and wait for another 1 year before you are mobilized for NYSC. But that gap was reduced drastically. That motivated me to say, oh my God, I mean, this is because a lot of things were done manually at the time, but when I got involved, I realized that we could, make some of these processes better. And I helped to improve these processes. And it helped me to understand how Microsoft Excel was important. And I'll lead you through the story. I began to devote more time to understand and learn Microsoft Excel. And that led me to when I started my NYSC, I eventually served in Bauchi State, and I volunteered again. When I went to my service, and there was a lot of issues around then, and I was told that I needed to wait for another 3 months, doing nothing for the batch ahead of us to do their POP before we can, be given activities to do in the school where I was posted. I was posted to a school to teach, and I'm like, oh, perfect. I had loved teaching, so this is the perfect place to teach. However, the school was not ready to have my services until 3 months' time. Then what do I do with 3 months? Okay, I was now in the land of Bauchi, 3 months, what do I do with it? And that took me to one NGO called FacePalm, Forward in Action for Education and Nutrition, something like that, right? So I was with them, and I went to the organization that day, and I told the woman I met there, okay, I'm a youth corper in this town. I have 3 months to spare. I was wondering if there is anything I could do for people within these 3 months. I don't need you to pay me. I have a means of that I could use to commute to the office. I can come here, I have my laptop, I can work with, and I can do X, Y, Z. Here is my CV. If there is anything you think I can do for you in this office. And she told me bluntly, there is nothing you can do, sorry, I don't have anything to hear. I said, no problem, you can keep my CV. Whenever there is anything, call me. Surprisingly, the next day, she called me to say, we have this data entry task, and since you say you have a laptop and you're good with computer, we're wondering if you could, be involved in that. With all pleasure, I was there the next day, and by Monday, we started the work. And by the time we started, I never, God bear me witness, I never asked them, how much are you going to pay? Will you pay or will you not pay? I was happy that my time is productively engaged, and I'm not going to waste that time. I'm going to be engaging in solving people's problems. By the time we finished the first month, I was surprised when they paid me 30,000 naira. And I'm like, okay, what for? And they say, oh no, you can't volunteer for us, and we don't give you something in return. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. I was happy, but I wasn't expecting it. And it was massive. I volunteered for them for 3 months. And by the end of that 3 months, that was how my NGO journey began. They had to request from me specifically, no, we want this guy to be part of our team. And that is how I joined the NGO world. I never planned to. I was not hoping for it. I was not, in fact, all my plan was to finish my NYSC and come back to the classroom, right? But here we are in the NGO world, right? And that led me to ICRC afterwards. From there, I moved to ICRC, and I was engaged as admin assistant in the Water and Habitat Department, which was the engineering arm of the organization. My core job was basic admin tasks. However, I realized that I could do that in less than maybe 3 hours of the day, and I had 8 hours to work. What do I do with the remaining 5 hours, right? I go for a break, 30 minutes, just with friends and colleagues, for another 30 minutes, maybe 1 hour. What happens to, I felt I was being underutilized. And then I began to ask my colleagues, I can volunteer to help you do your tasks. What are the pain aspects of your tasks? What can I help you improve in what you're doing, right? So some of them gave me some tasks. Okay, could you help me do this? Could you help me print this document? Could you help me scan? Could you help me do this? Could you help me fill this database? Gradually, the more I was able to deliver the one they gave me more tasks. Before I knew it, I was the favorite of the department. Everybody relied on me to help them do one thing or the other. And by so doing, I was building my capacity. By default, my job tasks had nothing to do with training, but I volunteered because I loved teaching. I volunteered to be part of facilitating trainings for them, and they involved me in trainings. Little wonder, when I had the next task, the next assignment to do, I was already developing this ability to organize a formal training from start to end, facilitate, or even support people to facilitate, and I learned a whole lot of things. I learned a whole lot of engineering processes. In fact, at one point, one of my colleagues left for support in another state, and his project was already ongoing. We could not afford to put the project, in standby, because it was already ongoing, and a lot of resources have been committed to it. And there was no team member on ground to fill his vacuum. And who else could they call? Voila, me. They called me to stand in for him. And for the first time, I did an engineering job, supervising an engineering job, without being an engineer. I never was trained as an engineer, but I did perfectly, though I always got back to him for feedback and guidance. but I was able to manage the project until its successful completion, right? It was not easy to manage resources, especially human resources and material resources, to achieve the project. It wasn't easy, but I volunteered to do this and I learned it. And this had been some of the talking points I've had in my career, and it has been helping me to grow all this while. And that brings me to what I do on a regular day. Today, I am a trainer in my organization. If I had restricted myself to the job that I do on a regular basis, I wouldn't have been here as a trainer in my organization. I also will not be here with you discussing, this topic we are discussing today, right? But because I volunteered my services, even when nobody was paying me for this, right? I volunteered wholeheartedly, and this has helped me to build my capacity that when I applied for this job of training in my organization, I was very confident in my ability to deliver what it takes, right? And when I was doing my interview, I think I could see from my interaction with the interviewers then, they were impressed that, okay, this person, because all the discussions we had was not about anything else, it was about training. Now I asked myself, if I hadn't volunteered at some point to do trainings for my colleagues, I wouldn't have any story to tell the interviewers that I know how to train or I know how to organize a training event. I wouldn't have had any story if I had restricted myself to my job function. I wouldn't have landed the job. But today, because I did more than what I have to do, I am now able to enjoy the benefit of growing in my career to the level where I am today, being in charge of the training profile of the organization in the whole of Nigeria, right? It is a privilege I do not take lightly, but I definitely acknowledge that if I did not volunteer to assist my colleagues to organize their training events and help them to deliver trainings at times, I wouldn't be here where I am today. So you see why I tell you that volunteerism can be the effective pathway for you to come to the career path of your choice, right? My ability to learn Excel when I learned it helped me to become a valuable team member to my teammates and even to friends around me. I'm able to solve a lot of problems, build templates, build interactive dashboards for people, to help them solve their business problems or even their personal problems. I wouldn't have been able to come this far if I did not, at least at some point in my life, volunteer to do something for free. So you see, when you volunteer for something, you are improving yourself as an individual. It may not pay off now, but definitely it's going to pay off in the nearest future because the skills you develop, the knowledge you acquire, the experiences you gain will help you at the end of the day to become better and improve your career, either in that organization or in a different place, wherever you may find yourself. So ladies and gentlemen, tonight, I hope you're able to see how volunteerism can help you to move from where you are to where you want to be, right? A lot of organizations, have this paid volunteer system going on. One of such is United Nations Volunteer Program. It is currently ongoing and they are taking volunteers now. People are applying. Maybe you don't even know about it. And that is why we are here, to inform you, right, that this is how you can do it, right? We are still going to be going on maybe tomorrow to show you practically how you can navigate. Of course, the formal processes of volunteering are usually a bit tedious in the application processes, but we are going to guide you through the processes of what you need to know and how you can apply to improve your chances of success with the United Nations. And also, I hope that the stories I've shared with you will help you as an individual to see opportunities to volunteer in your organization or in your local environment or in your community, how you can maximize these opportunities to begin to build the career path you want. It's not going to be a day's job, but you must start today, because if you don't start now, you will not be ready in the next 1 or 2 years when the opportunity comes calling, right? You must identify those opportunities to volunteer and begin to volunteer today, so that when those important ones that will give you a boost in your career comes up, you will find out that already you have all it takes, be it knowledge, be it experience, be it skill set, okay? You have all it takes to apply for it and get it. I bet you that the United Nations is everybody's dream to volunteer with, right? It's very rich volunteering experience because most especially, you don't even volunteer in your home country. They take you to a different country. The benefits are mind-blowing. Forget about the financial stipend they give, but the benefits is mind-blowing. What it will do to your career is, is better imagined, like you can just imagine it, right? So we want to call on you tonight to see volunteering as a way, a gateway to become that person you want to be in your career. And it begins with volunteering informally, even before you begin to volunteer formally. Perhaps you've been volunteering all your life, but you never thought about it. Now is the time to carefully sit down and begin to think about all those times you've volunteered for something that is related to where you want to be. Begin to jot them down somewhere. Have an archive somewhere you want to put it, all the volunteer activities you've done, so that whenever the opportunity comes, just go to your repertoire and bring it out. Yes, I have this in my archive, I have done this. You can bring it out and slot it into the right places. And before you know it, everybody is calling your name to come and help them. Recently, I applied for Atlas Core. It's also although that is an internship program, but when I was applying, it was very clear that if you have not done some things in the past, you stand no chance of applying or even succeeding. I made both to say that I was successful and I got to the semi-final stage, okay, of the Atlas Core program. Like, it is not an easy feat. About 3,000 people had applied, but only about 30-something people made it to the semi-final stage. It is not easy for you to get there. And you cannot get there if you don't have stuff you've been able to do, if you cannot show concretely that you've been able to add value somewhere. This is where we come in. Begin to develop that capacity. Begin to make those sacrifices so that by the time you are called upon, you have something to give, so that those bigger opportunities will just come to you very easily and, at your beck and call. So ladies and gentlemen, at this point, we want to take your questions, your contributions. If you have any questions you think you want to ask, any contribution you want to make as regards this topic that we've discussed tonight, I'll be more than glad to receive your comments. If you have anything to say, please, you can indicate by a raise of hand. You can put your comments in the chat box. You can ask your question at any point in time. We'll be taking all your questions and make sure that we do justice to them, right? So please, the floor is open, okay? Please begin to give us your questions, if any, before we wrap up for the night. And I must say thank you so very much for taking out this time to be with us up to this moment. It shows that you are really interested in building that career of your choice. And I'm happy for you, and I'm already congratulating you ahead of time, because if you can work with what we've discussed tonight, I'm definitely sure in the next 3 months or thereabout, you're going to have enough of what it takes to land that dream job or to switch to that dream career path that you are expecting to get into. So please, if you have any questions, I'm available to take your questions before we have a wrap up tonight. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, 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 thank you. Okay, before we take questions, please let us all unmute ourselves and say thank you to Mr. Toshikume. Let us all unmute and say thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Tochi. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it.
Oh,
So let's
okay.
have some questions, if any, please.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So we'll be taking questions. I think I don't know if it's Mr. or Mrs. Kusaye.
So, Tochiko, thank you so much. Really picked a lot. Having worked with volunteers, I'll just give a bit of a contribution. Having worked with volunteer in my career path, I found out that the main issue is people think of what they can get financially. And that's what, the mindset we want to pull out of people. It's not what you will financially gain. Now, I'm a very good example of how volunteerism has really prepared me for opportunities. Now, back then when I was that I would volunteer.
Okay, yes, you can continue.
Hello? Can I proceed?
Yes, you can.
Yes, please go ahead.
So I always the network is a bit bad.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we entered part 4 and we started our practical aspect, I was so advanced that even the lecturers were shocked at what I knew. Fortunately, immediately we graduated, I was still waiting for my youth service. I applied for jobs and I got called for interview because I used, sorry, I have kids around. I'm really sorry. I used those volunteerism experience as, my job experience. And I got called for so many interviews without really having, like a practical job experience. So let's remove this mindset of what we can get financially. It's not about what you can get right away. It's how you can build yourself and how you can get prepared for any opportunity that may come your way later on. So that's the main significance. And thank you so much for highlighting that, Tochiko.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Ogundeji Grace, please, you can unmute yourself now.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much, Mr. Tochiko, and thank you for the people, the team that anchored this program. I'm grateful. A friend actually sent me the link, and I was so excited. Mine is a question and not maybe a concern in a way. I actually started volunteering since 2012, or before I got into the uni. And even when I got into the uni, it was a major part of what I do. I volunteer with a couple of NGOs, and then we do a lot of outreaches in the village, in the prison yards and all. So I handle some roles. For me, for instance, because I've diversified into the human resource management as a career, and most of the roles I was picking up, I was given were sometimes project-based, sometimes administrative, and sometimes HR. Yeah, so I've actually applied to the United Nations a couple of times when I was done with service here, and even about 2 years ago again, but the thing is, I know, like you were saying, that, this, when we volunteer, it gives us an edge. I don't know what is the problem. Is it that I'm not applying properly, or there's something I'm not doing well? I've actually also applied, volunteered virtually, not virtually, though the NGO is based in Canada. But then I was having to travel to Lagos every Saturday and come back every Saturday to go teach children at Friends of the Disabled. A lot of sacrifices, not for money, not for anything. So my applications, what has been going on, I don't know what to say. So for me, and then sometimes again, even for jobs, people read through my CV and say, oh, we don't think we can pay you, or they don't tell me directly, but they just find a reason not to employ me. And then I hear later on they say, oh, we don't think we can pay you, or we think you're proud. And I'm wondering how. I don't know. So I need clarity on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, unfortunately, I couldn't get the name. What was the name of the last speaker again?
Grace.
Oh, Grace. Yes, Grace, thank you very much. I listened with keen interest all the things you've done, and I must say kudos. Like, the world is a better place simply because you lived in our time, right? Then the truth is, there are, like I mentioned earlier, because you volunteer, it's not a guarantee that you will get a job placement, right? You are doing this as an act, but then it is improving you. I make bold to say that because, okay, you applied for some processes, or maybe the volunteerism, or even a paid job, and you don't get the jobs, does not mean because you are not good or because they think you are overqualified. A lot of factors go into this. Maybe the way you applied and all of that. Every time I have the opportunity to speak to people about applying for things, I always tell them that whatever that is being advertised that you saw before you applied is like a question paper. And your application is the answer script. So you don't just apply things carelessly. You apply thoughtfully. because application itself is a main job in itself. So you must make sure that you read through what are the requirements. What do they want? Do I have it? If I don't have it, how do I develop it? Or do I have something that is similar? How can I craft it in such a way that they can see that what I have is exactly similar or matches with what they are looking for? So you must make conscious effort to ensure that every time you are applying for a job, you are applying specifically for that job. If you talk to people who are in the HR world, especially the recruiters, they will tell you one of the pains they have. People just apply for jobs randomly, and you begin to pick CVs, and you are wasting time to match the CV to the job advert, right? Most of the time, they have less than 10 seconds to do this. So within 10 seconds, if they don't see things that are catchy enough that they are looking for in the job advert, they dump your CV, it doesn't get a second read. So it may be the factor, it may not be, but I'm just giving a general guide, right? So when you are applying for any positions, be it paid jobs, be it volunteer jobs, please read carefully. What are they looking for? Do I have it? How can I present what I have so they can see exactly what I have, that it meets their expectation? So please make sure you always find a way to craft it properly. It will take time. You need to put a lot of thoughtfulness into your application process. Don't apply randomly. And for the fact that you always apply and don't get called, let me tell you something that maybe I didn't tell, and I always want to tell people this story. When I was in my previous organization, before I joined the ICRC, at some point, it got very toxic for me, and I was no longer happy working there. I knew it was time to step out. I was interested to move out, but I wasn't sure where I was going. I don't know anybody, no connection, like the Nigerian factor. You need to know somebody somewhere to connect you. I didn't know anybody, but then I made up my mind I was going to go all out for this job. First thing I did was to enroll in an online course to learn how to write a good CV. After I finished that, I enrolled in another course to learn how to do interview. After I finished these two courses, I now felt, okay, now I know what recruiters are looking for, at least on a general guide. Then I began to sit down and apply. And I will tell you, for about 1 month and a half, I applied for minimum of 3 jobs per day. Every night after my job, I come home, I don't go out. Unfortunately, I'm not the out kind of person. I always enjoy my solitude time. So I take that time every night before I sleep. At least 3 jobs I apply for. And sometimes I see jobs that require 7 years of experience. As at then, I had less than 3 years of experience. I will shall apply. What does it cost me? I have the data. I have the time. I saw the job advert. It was not restricted to anybody. I will apply, let the HR people throw it away. So multiply 3 jobs by at least 30 plus 15 days, at least 40 days. Like 3 jobs per day for 40 days. Minimum means I have applied for about 120 jobs. And out of this, I got only 2 invitations, just 2. Right? One was with one NGO in Maiduguri, then one was with ICRC in Yola. And eventually I came for the test and God favored me. I got the job in Yola. Even after this time, I have applied for a lot of jobs. I still not get invited, even in my own organization. I apply for them, I don't get invited. But let that not deter you. What am I trying to say? Keep applying. Don't stop. You are doing well. You've done so much. You've given your bit. You have enough meat in your CV, right? Keep applying. You're going to find the right one. But don't limit yourself. Apply for a lot of things. Expand your possibilities. But take your time and apply well so that you improve your chances of success. Thank you. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, sir. So I think we'll be taking, I saw some questions on the chat. We'll be taking that. And somebody also suggested something. We'll also go back to that very soon. So we'll be taking Mr. Oloche, Percy, and Teyi. You can mute yourself, sir.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Israel. Tochukwu, thank you very much for taking out your time this evening to run us through this. You know, why the session was ongoing, I kept seeing my life play out and, replay. And I want to state at this point that, you see, we can never overemphasize the importance of volunteering. Sometimes the best way to get your foot into any organization is through volunteering. And I want to also maybe just bring up a point at this time, that if you're volunteering, you also try to volunteer with a purpose, just like it was emphasized before now. So I'll use myself as an example. Sometimes after university, life got a little bit tough, and then I decided to volunteer with the Red Cross. Now, when I got into the Red Cross, I came in with 3 things in mind: volunteering, networking, and learning. Those were the key functions I wrote out for myself. And I've spoken on different platforms about that. So while I was volunteering, I was focusing on developing myself and then networking with people. Time will fail me to tell you what those networks had done for me, but I can assure you that through volunteering and networking, I started earning from international organizations even before I worked for any. I started earning from them even before I worked for any of them, through the networks I've had and the contacts I made by volunteering and then developing myself. Another thing you do while volunteering is to, like Mr. Tochukwu had pointed out, look for the gaps. So I got into this organization, applied as a volunteer, and then it took a long while for me to get my membership certificate and other stuff. So I discovered the person in the IT department maybe had too much to do, or something was just not working well. And I decided to throw in my effort to assist in the database administration of the organization. Before I knew it, I became the center guy, and then I kept doing that. Volunteering effortlessly, volunteering for 5 good years with the Red Cross. I come in the morning like every other staff, walk out through the day, sometimes even leave later than them. But I didn't know that I was building myself for something great. Remember I mentioned learning earlier? While I was doing this, I kept learning. At every opportunity I had, no matter how difficult it was, I kept doing it. Long story short, I put in an interview, an application sometimes for an organization, MSF. I will mention the name just for emphasis. And then I was invited for that interview. There were 35 of us that came in for the written test. From 35, we were reduced to about 5 that went in for the oral test. And then by the time I went in for the interview, an interview that was supposed to possibly put people under pressure, because of my volunteering years and experiences that I've gained, I tell you the truth, that my interview became a gist, like it became a story room where the questions were now changed from, if this happens, what would you do? The questions now become, can you share an experience with us where something like this happened? What did you do and how did you guys get out of it? And I share an experience. Even my interviewers would take turn to share experiences they have also had as to the questions they've asked me. So it became like, it was so easy. Why? Because everything that I was faced with, both in the written test and even in the oral interview, were things that through my volunteering, I had practically experienced them. I have faced them on the field. I've done a whole lot of it. Because of time, there is so much to say, but fast forward to the position where I occupy right now, still with the Red Cross at the national headquarters. I saw the advert, and like Mr. Tochukwu said, every advert you see out there is a question paper. Usually there are going to be long lists of skills and other things that will be written on those advertisements. Sometimes we skip them, but I encourage people, take your time, study your job advert deeply, and then match your skill set with the requirement on those adverts. Sometimes the years being required may not even play so much role if you have skill sets that match into this. And ways that you can gain this skill set, of course, is through the volunteering we are talking about, and other forms of learning and development that you can do. And at this point, let me quickly point before I forget that most of the international organizations that we eye today have learning platforms that we can go on and take beautiful courses on those platforms, a lot of them for free. So imagine putting an advert for an organization, and on your CV, you're already brandishing certificates from their organization, from their learning platform. I don't think you need the Holy Spirit to tell you at this point that there would be some form of, interest on on the papers you're presenting as your CV. So develop yourself, pick your organization of choice, learn about them, take courses on them. And you'll be so surprised at how these things will work. Just to round up, because I know time is not there for us. The last interview I attended for the current position I'm occupying now, when I got to that interview, and then they were passing out the attendance for those that came, I saw names of people in the movement that I have been hearing for, years. People that have done great stuff. And in my mind, I was like, okay, guy, you've just come to experience how interview is done in this place. Don't even think that you're going to get this job. That was a human being in me speaking. But eventually, when we got done with the written and then I went in for the oral, the same experience that played out in MSF was right there playing out in front of me. Every single question that I was being asked, I had myriads of experiences to share on those questions. And from intel I got later when I eventually, this is not a bragging platform, it's just a platform for us to encourage ourselves and also see how we could develop ourselves. From intels I got after I got into the organization, after the interview, part of the interview, the people on the panel felt I saw their questions before I came. And that wasn't true because that was my first time of being to the national headquarters. But what helped me? My volunteering experiences, those years of toiling in pains, those years of working selflessly. Like Tochukwu also mentioned earlier, because of my commitment to volunteering, some of the tasks I was exposed to were not tasks that ordinarily a volunteer should even handle. But I could have field officers delegate jobs to me on the field that shouldn't even be given to me. All of that played out in the interview room. And surprisingly, I got called up afterwards, got sent, an offer later, and by the grace of God, I am where I am today. What am I trying to say in essence? Grace, don't be discouraged. Keep building yourself, keep networking, keep learning, and then we never can know it all. Ordinarily, when I saw the advert of this evening call, I would have said that, what do I even need to learn about volunteering anymore? But we never can stop learning. Seeking for a job is a job in itself, and that is one thing young people need to know. Seeking for a job or job hunting, it's a job in itself. So take it seriously, wake up, prepare for it, and then, seek or hunt for these jobs. And while we also wait, let's take opportunity to learn as much as we can learn. I will round up with this story. Sometimes during the COVID-19, I belong to a group where we're all young people trying to get a job either in the INGOs or in the NGO sector. And then I know how to do data collection, data cleaning, and then analytics. And I felt, okay, now we're all locked up, everyone is home. So let me even do free data analytics training for young people like me who are interested in, getting a job with the NGOs. And so I rolled out a training section. But I will shock you, or it will shock you to know that 90 to 95% of the people that attended those trainings afterwards and stayed all through the over 6 weeks I took that training were professionals already in the field. The young people like me who I targeted didn't show up. Professionals who are already either working with Osfam, United Purpose, ICRs. These were people who showed up to learn these skills. So what's happening to young people? And then we sit and say there is no job out there. Whereas we are not spending. I'm not directing this to anybody. I'm just using it as a way of encouraging us to keep developing ourselves, keep building ourselves, and of course, at the end of the day, you're going to have your great day some days. I will round up at this point. Thank you very much for the opportunity once again.
Thank you, Mr. Oleche. Thank you. In fact, that was a great one. I saw Mr. Olamide Olatunji raising his hand the other time. I don't know if he still wants to ask his question. So while waiting for him, okay?
No, I think I'm fine now.
Oh,
I'm fine. I've gotten what I want to. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. So let me quickly read the question from the chat. Okay. Somebody, Mr. Moses Aji said, please, sir, how can I maybe identify the organization to volunteer? How can I identify the organization to volunteer? Sir, before you take that question, I want to use this medium to recognize the presence of our speaker, the speaker that will be speaking tomorrow, Dr. Mrs. Moninade Akinola. You are highly welcome, ma'am. So, sir, you can take the question.
Thank you very much. Moses, I guess, that asked the question. How can you identify an organization to volunteer? Don't forget, when we started the discussion, we said that volunteerism is all about something you are passionate about, something that you are driven about, a cause you strongly believe in. So I would ask you, which organizations are doing those things you want to be part of? Which organizations are living the life you want to live? And don't forget that in my discussion, I tried to digress a little bit from the organizational part, that's the formal part of volunteering, to the informal part, because the formal part is a little bit competitive. And most of the time, it is stressful getting there. Mostly they have to advertise before you can get in and all of that. And there are very few organizations that, have the whole volunteering thing as a core means of maybe reaching out or carrying out the activities. Just very few of them. But there are a lot of people who have problems all around you that you can solve their problems. Why not begin to look at who around me has a problem that I can offer solution to, right? Or who are the people that are working in the organizations that I want to be part of? Identify these people, network with them, find what their pain points are, help them to solve this problem. You just might be shocked. They will give you a job where no job advert is happening. Let us not ever forget, in this world, not in Nigeria alone, recommendation still remains a major part or source of recruitment in any organization. Somebody can recommend you even when job is not advertised, and you will get the job. It is done, right? So be strategic about what you want, and then strategically identify the people that are in that places that you need to be. Network with them and find out what their pain points are. For example, for me, I've always wanted to be in the HR world. But if you heard my story from all what I've said, I've never been in HR until recently, right? But then the vision did not die. What do? On LinkedIn, I identify and I look for professionals that are in the HR, and I link up with them. I follow their conversations, I hear their discussions, and I understand the problems of people in HR. And I begin to tell myself, where can I fit in and solve their problems? And then I realize that most HR people are talking about data. How can they use data to make decisions? And it's a new discourse in the HR world. And don't forget, I told you, I learned Microsoft Excel when I volunteered with Department of Business Administration in Unimed. So this helped me say, okay, I know a little bit about data analysis. And these people in HR where I want to be are having problem with data analysis. I think I can solve this problem. Okay. So already I have seen a loophole where I can come in. And this, when I had to talk to, I was not looking for a mentor in HR, and I spoke to my HR main person in my organization, who is our recruiter. I reached out to her one day. I said, please, ma'am, I am looking to develop in this field, and you are there where I want to be. And I really want to be in this place. Can you be my mentor? And she asked me, what can you offer? What are you interested in? By the time I began to tell her, I noticed that people in HR have problems with data analysis, and I really want to be part of this. I know how to do data analysis, and I want to be, develop my skill, especially in this area. If you can help me. I was so shocked that already she also had the problem. And she told me, oh, I've been thinking of to do something in this way or in that way. And I didn't know, I've been very busy. It's not like I don't know what to do, but I've been very busy to do it. Can you do it for me? Could you come up with something? I say, yes, I can do it. And I volunteered to do it for her. Ladies and gentlemen, the story cut short. Today I'm in HR, right? In this same organization, right? So you can never tell. So it's not about the organization first. It's about the problem. about the cause, about the motivation. When you get in there and solve the problem, before you know it, you find yourself in that area, occupying that space. So that is how it works. Look for a problem, look for a cause that you personally identify with. Don't focus about the organization first. Look for people, ordinary people that have this problem, solve the problems, and they will link you up to the organizations you want. I think that would be an easier way to get into those organizations. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let me take this very quickly from Mr. Ishaka Abubakar. He said, thank you for the mind-blowing lecture. For me, a career is discovered already, and the outcome of this class shall be implemented immediately. Here comes the question. Does informal volunteerism necessarily involve a one-on-one visitation to authorities, or it also requires an application letter?
Okay, like I try to, when I say the word informal, it depends. There are no rules to this thing, right? So it depends on where do you want to volunteer? What is the process is there? Did you talk to people who are there? What do they accept? What do they do? How do they do it, right? So whether it involves physical visiting or calling people on phone, to ask them you want to volunteer, or maybe just, for example, you saw someone, maybe if you are, I really would, for just to digress a little bit, encourage everybody to please join LinkedIn. Even if you will spend time on social media, use it productively. It's good to be on Facebook, it's good to be on WhatsApp, but if it is not giving you something substantial to where you want to be, I think you should really regulate the time you spend there. If, for example, you're on LinkedIn and you see someone talking about something or a project they are doing, and you think you can do something, you can just chat them up. Sorry, I saw your profile, or I saw your advert, I see you're doing this project, I have this experience, I can offer my help to help you solve this problem. This is what I can actually do to help you solve your problem. It might be online, it might be physical, if you have the access to them physically. There is no rule to this thing. But you can leverage social media, you can leverage anywhere you can meet these people, regular people. You can walk up to a company, they have a problem, or maybe somehow their staff have told you that they have this problem and you think you have the solution. You can walk up to them and offer your solution. They may buy it, they may not buy it. Whatever the case may be, you never can tell. But shoot your shot, take your chance, right? So use any avenue where you can meet ordinary people doing ordinary things and try to offer your support ordinarily. It must have, there's no template. There is no how it should be. If it involves writing a letter and they tell you write a letter so they know you are serious, write it. If they tell you come to our office so we know you are serious, you go. If they tell you, okay, just give me a phone call, fine. If it is through LinkedIn, you can meet up with them and offer your solution and they accept it, fine. People go outside the country today, they become research assistants. How? They see a supervisor or a professor who is doing a particular research. You find there, you Google for this thing, you go search, like the other speakers said earlier, that looking for a job is a job in itself. And I strongly believe it. You go online, you search, you find people who are doing the things you want to do. You reach out to them. I see you're doing this thing. I can do this thing for you to help you achieve your goal. You may be surprised they are looking for someone that has your skill set, that will assist them, relieve them of the pressure. They may be happy to have you on board, join them. I've heard of people who have gone abroad, they become research assistants. Today they are lecturers in universities abroad. How did they get there? They reached out to professors and offered to help them do as a research assistant. I can help you maybe do your data collection or data cleaning or something, or help you write on a particular chapter that you are researching on. And just, oh yeah, do it, let me see. And then when you finish, oh, please come, I think you are a very good quality, I can work with you. But don't forget, the bedrock is first and foremost, you must have something to offer. Because we say you should volunteer does not mean you just go and become additional human being to people or additional stress or people giving people headache to shout every day. No, don't do this. You are destroying my office, you are doing this. In as much as you are confident that you have something to offer. If you don't have, somebody have already told us where you can find free courses online that you can do to improve yourself, to gain skills, to gain more knowledge. As much as you can, please engage in them. A whole lot of them, Kaya Connect, all these big organizations have free-to-air courses you can do without charges, and their certificates are recognizable. Do those courses, acquire those skills. And when you brandish what you can do and you have the chance to actually do it and you do it well, you'll be surprised at what lies ahead. So please always maximize it. There are no written rules. Any way is a way, in as much as it gives you the final result in the end. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, I can see Mr. Oloche raising his hand again. Okay, sir, you can unmute yourself. Is it a question or a contribution? You just have.
Okay, I'm sorry, just to come in very briefly, please.
2 minutes, please.
Mr. Chok, okay, I'm not even going to spend up to 2 minutes. Mr. Tochukwu just made a very valid point, which is about LinkedIn. You must have a functional LinkedIn profile in this age and time. A very functional LinkedIn profile, and then learn to connect with people on that platform professionally, not socially, or professionally learn to connect with people on that platform. And then just to add a little, find a niche. He mentioned that. What are you interested in? Find a niche, develop yourself in that niche. That is one of the easiest places. From the beginning, he showed us a statistic. I think it's even on the screen right now, where a lot of people are underemployed. They're in a place, yeah, you are there, you've got an employment already, but you're not even enjoying the job you do. So find a niche, develop yourself in that niche, and then begin to provide solution in that niche. But I emphasize again, a functional LinkedIn profile, it's very, very important. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate. Somebody raised a suggestion here. Mr. Okay, I think it should be Mrs. or Miss Obasi Joy Obianuju. Based on what you said in reply to Grace's question, will you take us on how to dust our CV in the course of this training? Okay, we promise you that we'll be bringing this up very soon, but it's not going to be in this particular summit. But we'll be bringing this particular issue up, and by the grace of God, we are going to do justice to that. In respect to LinkedIn, in fact, I have some things I'll be saying tomorrow on how you can connect, to hire people, directors through that particular platform. Please, I'll be saying that tomorrow, and I can promise you we'll be having a very wonderful time tomorrow also. In fact, you can see what happened today. It has been, in fact, personally, I am so happy, I'm so blessed, as we used to say in our religious settings. I did not just learn, I am personally blessed. So please, let us be here tomorrow very early. It is going to commence by 7 p.m. And our speaker, Dr. Mrs. Monilade Akinola, will also be sharing her personal experience, how she got into the World Health Organization through volunteerism. And she's also going to be sharing other people's experience that, she is our technical supervisor. So she has seen so much in respect to people being employed through volunteerism. So I assure you that tomorrow is going to be another wonderful time. Please, you can also invite your friends and family. This program or this summit shouldn't just be for you alone. Spread the love. And tomorrow, we'll also be taking you practically on how to sign up on the United Nations volunteer platform. And we'll be telling you different types of volunteerism you can involve in with the United Nations and how you are going to go about it. I don't know if Mr. Tochukwu may still have anything to say before we,
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm just looking at the comment box, and I see the comment by Kusahel, who says volunteerism is not only at the lower level, even at higher level as you grow in your career, it's also important. Please, I think it's very important we mention it. For you to volunteer, like I tried to say earlier, it's not just because you are looking for a job. Even when you get job, Don't restrict yourself to this is my job. I'm not going to do X, Y, Z. If you must grow, if you must grow in your job, always have the mindset or the ability to do more than what you have been given. And that is what your manager will say and say, this person has capacity for more. The more you allow yourself to do more than just what you are being paid for, by helping your colleagues, helping your manager, helping your organization to solve more problems beyond what they are even paying you, they will give you more responsibilities. And you'll be amazed how you will grow in that organization, or at least even if you don't grow there, you will leverage on it to grow into a higher role in another organization. I have seen this play out practically everywhere. I have seen it in the past 5 years. I have experienced a lot of people. I have seen a lot of people who have grown in this wise. And for the person who made comments about CV writing, honestly, it's a word of its own. But let me also make you know something, that writing a good CV alone doesn't give you the job, right? A whole lot of things are involved. But yes, of course, writing a good CV is a critical aspect that we must consider. And I hope we'll have the opportunity to discuss it again. But before that time, I really want to implore you, please be very resourceful with your YouTube. I learned a whole lot. Like when I told you I learned Excel, I didn't learn it from school. Though I went to computer school, but I didn't know what they were talking about at the time, right? It was until I finished my volunteer experience in the University of Maiduguri. That was when I understood, oh, so this is what these people were even trying to tell us. But I couldn't remember a lot of things. YouTube was my friend. I was always on YouTube every night. There's a whole lot of things you will learn on your own. The best form of knowledge is the one you taught yourself. Like I told you, I had to enroll in a course. And by the way, that course was free on Coursera on how to write a good CV. You can go, it is still there. They've not closed it. You can audit some of these courses. Sometimes they roll up a new course and they're looking for people to audit it. So you can audit these courses for free. If you regularly follow them, you have Udemy, you have Coursera, you have Kaya Connect, you have YouTube. These are free resources where you can find a whole lot of things, especially on anything about CV writing, be it in the context of Nigeria or outside Nigeria. Rich resources that will help you improve yourself and make sure that you learn these things. You don't need to really wait for us. The things we'll tell you will be part of the things we've also seen in those platforms and maybe experienced, just to share with you. But the best you will get is when you are in charge of your own research. So I really want to implore you, before we even roll out anything, please use your YouTube to a large extent. Go on Coursera, go on Udemy, even LinkedIn Learning. There's a whole lot of things you can learn there for free. Please maximize all of these platforms and improve your CV. Whereas if we have the chance, we can also do this together practically as it relates to us in our context. But the general overview you will get when you engage in those learning platforms. So that would be my final take for the night. Thank you very much.
Let us show Mr. Tochukwu some love. Let us show him some love. Let us say thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We appreciate it
so much, sir.
Nice one. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. We love you. We love. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you, teachers.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Is the CEO of T-Shirt Ventures. Yes. He's also a CEO. Thank you very much, sir. Really appreciate you. And I pray that the Almighty will reward your out of love and bless you mightily in Jesus' name. So tomorrow is another day, 7 p.m. Please make it a date.